All right, so this is the shape that we're going to be starting with, and we need our 0.8 millimeter wire and a shape. It doesn't really matter what you use because you don't really need to wrap that many unless you're going to make several bracelets. We need about 40 to 60 jump rings. Obviously prepare more because you never know how long you want your bracelet or if you want to create another one. So always tend to make enough. So just wrap your wire around the shape that you have, and make sure that you pull quite tight. The wire that I have tends to be quite springy, so I try and keep it as neat as I can by pulling quite tightly around the shape that I have, and keep wrapping until you have enough for, say, about 60 to 80 jump rings. All right, so next, it's quite important when trimming your jump rings to make sure that the edges line up flush, because we're going to be soldering these, and if there's any gap in between, the solder area isn't going to be strong. So you need to make sure that everything is flush and lines up perfectly. So just having a look here, and this is what it looks like. So next we just need to make sure that for each and every jump ring you line up the cut absolutely perfectly so that the solder will stick. There we go. That seems to be okay. Nope, not quite yet. All right, so once you've lined them up, we're going to be soldering them closed. I have used soldering paste. So you just simply apply a tiny amount. I've used hard solder paste for this. I really like using the paste actually, because for jump rings anyway, because it's so easy to apply and it's super quick. So for things like that, the paste is perfect. So just add a tiny amount to the gap, and that's all you need. So next we're heating these up to solder them. Just be careful not to heat too much, especially when the wire is so fine. It's quite easy to overheat and melt your wires as you go along. So just be gentle when applying heat and evenly move it over the jump rings. And this should close up the jump rings. And next I'm just going to quickly put them in a solution of vinegar and salt, which I've heated up, which should help with the fire scale for a couple of minutes. And next we are going to shape these. Now line up where you've soldered with the edge, because the actual edge will be hidden in the design. So just make sure when you're creating the shape that the solder is on one of the sides at the tip where it's rounded. So do this to all the jump rings, and next we're going to bring in our bell making pliers, and I'm going to shape it around the second smallest mandrel, and make sure that they line up. The more symmetrical they are, the more symmetrical your piece will look. So take your time when doing this, make sure they line up perfectly, and that each and every single one is the same shape. Next, I'm just going to narrow down the edges a bit, because that will help with the next step. That's what it looks like. Right, so next we need to now link all of these sections together. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you as best as I can. So we need to loop one into the other, going through both hoops with the one looped end. It's a bit fiddly at this stage. The first one is always a little bit more loose than the rest, because obviously it's got no structure to it. So just take your time, try not to bend the wires out of shape, and this is what it looks like. Now if you were to continue like this, you would get something like this, right? But we want to make something a little bit more intricate, so push the wires together. So push one loop down into the other, so they kind of doubled up like that. I'm going to show you like so, and we need to now open up the round section. So just take a pair of pliers and push them down gently, to widen up that gap a little bit. Do the same from the other side just to make it even. I haven't done it here, but just it helps to if you do it from both sides. So next, remember how I was thinning out the loops on the sides? I'm going to do this again. The reason being is that they will go so much easier through the looped section that we just tried to enlarge. So bring these two back in, and we are now going to go through all 4 loops in one go. So I hope you can see that here. I'm trying to be as sharp as possible with it. There we go, just pull on the side, and then you can close off, and from now on it should become a little bit easier, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so again we need to bring in our mandrel, or I've used runner's pliers, and I'm going to go through one of the previous loops, right, and the loop that we have just added, and widen it like so. The reason we're doing that is just so that the subsequent jump rings we're adding go in much easier, so just to help with the process. And show you again. So narrow these down a little bit. And open up. And simply feed the section through. And you see it's much easier when you narrow down the loop at the top. Much easier to get through. Just make sure that you reshape them once you're done. And you can see here how I told you to put the soldered edge at the top where the loop is, because this section will be hidden by the rest of the wire work, so you can't actually see it. It makes the whole design a lot neater. So repeat that, and this is how you would then continue until you have enough length of the chain that you want. Obviously measure your wrist. Bear in mind that the design stretches out because we're going to pass it through a draw plate at a later stage. So the next step is to pull it through a draw plate. So we're going to heat it up to anneal it a little bit. That will help with the process of pulling it through the draw plate. Right, so the next step is to bring in your draw plate. I've got a wooden one. Obviously metal ones will work much better. You would attach them, as I will show you just now, to a table vise like so. Once it gets, the holes get smaller, just make sure that each time you are pulling it through a smaller hole, you anneal it first, especially when using just a wooden one. Will help you with the narrowing down. So just take your time and pass it through the same hole several times until it slides through quite easily, and then step it down. Obviously if you have stronger tools you can pull it through a smaller hole and make it even narrower. So just keep going until you're satisfied with the actual look, and that's what it looks like so far. So what we need to do next is, obviously because we've passed it through and we squished the wire, it's not as malleable as before, so we want to get that flexibility back. So just pass it over the mandrel a couple of times, and this will reshape and resit the wires, and it'll have that beautiful fluidity again as we had right in the beginning. Absolutely adore this style because it looks beautiful, and I just love the way it feels when you wear it. It's beautiful. So just kind of shape it a little bit, and voila, back to the way it was before. Beautiful. Right, the next step is to create the bead cap. Now you can buy ready-made ones that are solid. I liked to make my own because I wanted to keep it kind of rustic. So I've just used a piece of 1mm wire, and I've shaped it around sort of a cone-shaped tool. You just have to ensure that the bottom circle or the bottom loop is big enough to house the bracelet, which in this case is 5mm, right? So the bottom loop is 5mm, and it needs to be able to fit into that cone. Now at the end of the bracelet, when you finish, there are 2 loops left, like so. So I've just used a piece of wire and fed it through those 2 loops, and then pulled the cone onto that brace, and you'll see how the bottom loop fits perfectly around the circumference of the bracelet. That's because we've made it cone shaped. so it'll slide on beautifully, and the tip of the cone is just big enough to house the two the leftover jump ring hoops that we had when we finished with the bracelet. So just squish it down gently. You don't need to push too hard because that would distort the whole cone, so just enough to give it a little bit of pressure onto the bracelet. It doesn't really matter anyway because we're going to be soldering this closed, and that's what it looks like. Next, so all I've done again, I've taken my soldering paste again, and I have put some paste right inside the coils, the coil that we've just created. So we want it to be hidden, obviously, and you want to make sure it doesn't travel up too much of the design, because it will then stiffen the whole chain if it travels up. So make sure it doesn't move from where you put it. Next, we're going to heat the whole thing. Again, be gentle with the heat. You don't want the silver to get too hot. If it melts in places, it will remove that whole beautiful fluidity that you worked so hard to achieve. So be gentle with the heat. And next, one of my favorite steps is to put a liver of sulphur on it. I've made a tutorial for that, which is somewhere on my channel, so just have a look for that if you want to go into more detail and know how to do it. So this is what it looks like once it's darkened. Isn't that beautiful? I actually quite like it like that. Some people leave their jewelry black like that. I quite like the silver to shine through, so I've used some sandpaper here, but after that I've also put it into my tumbler. I've got a low tone, which also work hardens, especially rings and things like that when you put them in it. So I like to use that to get a beautiful finish. Otherwise, just polish it like that until you're satisfied with the way it looks, and that's it.